Hello, doers. My name is Jose Ignacio. Let's be honest right here. This is a safe space. Would you ever get anything done if it wasn't on your calendar? Me neither. I'd probably never attend a meeting again. And since my boss wouldn't necessarily like that, I should probably make sure all of my most important calendar events are synced across all my devices and all my accounts. Fortunately, the Odoo calendar app is integrated with so many other Odoo apps, from CRM to sales to appraisals. We are constantly booking appointments and sending meeting invitations, not just to our team, but to our customers as well. So today, we are going to connect my Google Calendar to my Odoo calendar. Now, before we get started, Odoo recommends testing the setup on a test database with a test email address that you use just for this process. That way, once you are ready to create events, you won't accidentally invite a whole list of people to a meeting that none of them really want to attend. So, let's get right into it, shall we? Enough chit-chat. So first, we have to make sure everything is good to go on the Google side of the equation. This right here happens to be the Google API console, and the first thing I'm going to do is create a new project to work with. So to do that, see up here where it says select a project, let's click on that and select new project right there. Okay, we got to give it a name inside of this pop-up window. So why don't we call this one Odoo Calendar Project. Perfect. Then you want to select your organization as well as your location. You can browse, do whatever when it comes to that. And then you hit create. And now we wait a little bit because after a little bit, I'm going to be notified that we have our new Google project. Then once that it's done, it's going to appear right here. And would you look at that? There we are. It's already selected it for us and we've been notified. Great. Looks like everything is all set. Now I want to select enable APIs and services up here at the top. All right, what are we looking for? Well, this is the library with all the APIs that I can enable on this account. But right now our only concern is with calendar. So let's make sure we go over here and find calendar. There we go. It's the first one. It says Google Calendar API. Then we're going to select enable on it right there. Awesome. While this is working, we need to make sure that we can actually log in and actually use it. So for that, we actually want to make our way over to where it says OAuth consent screen over here. Okay, now this is the step where once we select this and get started, we're going to create everything. So the very first thing we need to configure is the consent screen that will pop up when we establish the sync in the Odoo database. The second thing I need to do right now is decide if I will be targeting internal or external users. So I'm going to enter in right now my app name, and then my support email happens to already populate right there. And it happens to be the one that we're using for this. We're going to select next after that. Then we're going to select external for these. And then we go forward. Now it's going to ask us for our contact information. Now I'm going to be using my personal Gmail account for this app. So further from this, I also have to add my email one more time as the developer contact information. So let's just put that in right there and select next. Okay, we agree to everything and hit continue. When we're finally done, we hit create. Boom. After all of that, we're finally done. And we're done here, but we want to return over to our branding page because you want to scroll down to this area where it says authorized domains. We're going to add one in real quick that says odoo.com. Once we have that in there, we hit save. This one is necessary, so make sure you save right there. And also while we're here, I think it's time for us to also talk about our people who are going to be using this. So let's go over to audience and scroll down here to test users. Hit add users. Type in the person who's going to be a test user for this, and then select save. Boom, just like that. We're added there as well. I've made myself a test user. All right, now that we're done with everything, let's go back over here to our overview. Okay, and if I wanted to add any other users, by the way, with personal accounts, giving them the ability to sync, I will need to add them back over on the page. But for now, I'm just going to stick with my own setup. So now we can finally create our client. So before we head into Odoo, we need credentials. So to do that, I'm going to select Create OAuth Client right there. It's going to ask us for our client type, or our application type in this case. We're setting up a secure connection between our Odoo database and the Google API. So I'm going to need to create those credentials. So immediately, ours is a web application. And we're going to need to be able to create one with a name. What are we going to do for this one? I'm just going to do my Odoo DB for database. All right, perfect. So under authorized JavaScript origins, this is where we're going to select add URI. And very quickly, I'm going to go look for mine because I just realized I did not put it in there right away. This is going to be the URL of your database right there. And this is going to allow for a connection to the database and to pinpoint where the sync requests are coming from. So I need to make sure that I am typing the full URL for my Odoo database exactly correct here, as you can see. Okay, now that that looks good, under Authorize Redirect URIs, I'm going to do the same thing. But this time we have to add something else. I'm going to paste it back in there, right there. And we have to add a dash first. Don't forget that. Google _ account dash authentication. I know that's a mouthful, but trust me, you're going to need that right there. Okay, and let's double check to make sure for our own sanity that we did that correctly. Google account authentication. Perfect. Everything is done. All right. Once that we're done with that, this will create the redirect request or a link back to Google and link to the Odoo website to this newly created OAuth login. Once that you've double checked everything, you just select create right there. And then once that everything looks good, as we can tell right there, we got to give that system a little bit of a few seconds to cheer up and fix itself. So first, what we have inside of here happens to be the client ID. And then beyond that, if we select it in here, you're going to see what I'm talking about. We also happen to have the client secret. I'm going to need both of these in just a second. Mine has been blurred out for my own safety, so I'm going to keep them somewhere safe for now. And then as a small odoopsie, I almost forgot, we still had one last step to do. You actually want to make your way back over to the main overview over here on the Google side, and then you want to select audience. Select Publish App and select Confirm. At the moment, we happen to have had it on testing. It won't work unless it happens to actually be in production. With that done, we can actually now move forward into Odoo. Okay, we're actually almost done. The very first thing I want to show you right now is on the screen. Happens to be my actual calendar. You'll see some nice events over here. But let's move on inside of Odoo. Okay, so the very first app we're going to open up is Calendar. So inside of the calendar application, we want to direct our attention to configuration and settings. Now you see where it says Google Calendar, make sure to toggle it and then hit save. And you get a nice prompt. Save this page and come back here to set up the feature. Don't worry, we're going to put that in right now. Okay, so inside of here now, we're going to take our two secret things, our client ID, which is still blurred. Everything is still going to be blurred, Odooers. Yours is going to be unique. And then finally our client secret. Remember to hit save. And with that, we're good to go. Now, once that we move back on over to our page for our calendar, if we select our calendar, you're going to see something new pop up. You see right here, it says synchronize with Google. That actually isn't normally there unless you have the option selected right now. You also, as you saw, have the option to select it. So let's select synchronize with Google. Select your account from the list. And if you get this, it's okay if it hasn't been verified. Just select that show advanced, as you see right there. Go to odoo.com. It's going to ask us to verify this. And if we did everything correctly, would you look at that? Everything right there is perfect. I told you guys, everything is really nice. Now, I want to talk real quick about, if we go back over here to settings, you'll notice there's an option to pause synchronization. This is useful if there is ever a time when we want to disconnect the sync temporarily. We can actually check that box off. That will turn the sync off globally for the database, but it won't delete any of the credentials or undo any of the setup work we had to do. This is helpful as a setting to use when testing a sandbox. Now, it should be noted, if the setting isn't turned off and you make changes to an invite and you save it or create/delete another or even remove someone from an invite, it will send an invite out to all the recipients. So be mindful of the spam this can cause. All right, everything looks perfect and beautiful, as you could tell from our nice calendar now. And with that, Odooers, we're finally done. Now all the meetings and appointments I schedule in Odoo are added to my Google Calendar without any extra steps for me. That wasn't so bad now, was it? You made your first API connection with Odoo. Nice work. Go grab a snack. I'm eating seaweed again. It's my healthy phase.